evening, YouTube. I should have done the music tonight, but no music for now. No music. Let me get my little things together here. So tonight the message is for our fellow people, our fellow angels who have to walk. Tonight the message is for, on my own YouTube. I gotta try to get my engagement up. Engagement is bad. It's not a big deal, but I try to do things here and there wherever I can. What would I say? Hold on one second. Yeah. Okay, so let me read Matthew chapter 25. The message here tonight is readiness and stewardship. So I have my notes on what I want to talk about, and what I want to talk about aligns with the chapter that I got today. So Matthew 25. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went out to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterwards came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and came and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. After a long time the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with him. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Even thou into the joy of that, enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knowest that I reap where I sowed not, and gained where I have not strewed. And I think that just means he invests. He's an investor. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which have 10 talents. Now, I believe talents to be currency, but let me look up the meaning of usury. Usury is the sum paid for the use of money, hence interest, not as in the modern sense, exorbitant interest. The Jews were forbidden to exact usury, only, however, in their dealings with each other. And I've heard of that too in other religions, where you're not allowed to like almost like invest in the stock market. Like they almost see it as a sin for money to make money, if that makes sense. So he's saying, you should have given my money to exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own money back with interest. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which have 10 talents. For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was a hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and gave thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. And then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was a hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in. Naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not unto me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal. There are a few things I'm going to point to. Sometimes I don't come back to the text that I get. But I wanted to point out verse 12, where God said, "But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not." That to me is one of my worst fears when it comes to dealing with God, is for God to say, "I don't know you." I mean, I feel like you're even lucky if you get a response and God says, "I don't know you." Because God can literally either listen and not care, not respond at all, or not hear you at all. And I don't think people, oh, I'm trying to get this the right brightness. I don't think people understand what it means when God does like turns his and her back on you, because they are long suffering and they are patient. And I mean that they put up with our behavior. They are patient with it. They understand. They understand what we're going through. They understand the challenges that are against us. They understand how much we're enduring for those of us that are. But they give patience and they give warnings. And I always think, don't exhaust. Don't exhaust. You gotta fight through your challenges. That's really the message for today, is about fighting through your challenges. And I'm saying this to, because there's this thing of, when I first started this walk, I used to look at life like the people who do good. The people who do good are like the ones who are favored, and then those who do bad are the ones who are not favored. And I've come so far to see that God really fights for people who are in darkness, to bring people back. They really fight for that. And those of us who have been doing good our whole lives, have been trying, have been turning the other cheek, you definitely feel as if like it's not fair. Like I should get extra points or all of this other stuff. And that's because you don't have understanding. And one of the things that has been coming out to me in weeks, in the past couple weeks, if not months, the past couple months, is that with wisdom comes understanding. And there's a card that I used to pull out of this deck, and it said, in order to forgive, you must understand, or something like that, but it had something to say with understanding. And as I've come into understanding, I've had no choice but to be understanding. Because once you understand certain things, you start, I think that's where it comes back down to this quote that I used to say in the beginning of gang stalking: there's no way God likes people. I'm like, because I couldn't understand how people could do this. And then God said, I deal with people because, or I what is the quote? I understand man. I can't remember the first part of it, but I can't remember if it says I love man because I understand man or something like that. But it basically was saying I understand men. Not men as in the male gender, but people. And it took me a long time to come to an understanding of what that truly means when God says, but I understand people. Because God will heal wounds very quickly. There are things, I remember going through this and I'm like, I'm gonna need years of therapy after this, like years of therapy. And God showed me that healing and forgiveness is very easy. You just have to understand. You just have to see it from another person's perspective. You just have to step into other people's shoes. And I've gone through things, and I have had no choice but to see things from other people's perspective. A lot of people here. The first perspective that I saw it from, where I started not taking things personally, was people who were gang stalking, people who are doing the gang stalking. I tried a long time. I'm like, I'm making excuses. There's no way, blah, blah, blah. I said all of this stuff, but I had to be pushed into a corner that there is no way. There's no way. There was a certain point early on when I started to see the spiritual side of this where I said, there's no way anybody can refuse this. This spiritual persecution is not for the weak. I see myself going through this with God, who is this is the best help you can have. And I see how difficult this is with God. And I say, when people don't have that connection, there's no hope here. This is human sacrifice. I called it slavery in the beginning before I knew, but it's worse than slavery. You're a living sacrifice. You're alive and you've been sacrificed to an entity. And it's taken your joy, your peace, your hope. It takes everything, and all you can do is be in servitude. Everything you toil and you labor and you give is to this entity. It takes everything. It doesn't leave anything for you. Every living, waking moment is in doing what it wants. And that is the sacrifice. And you don't see it. I'm sure the people who have made themselves a sacrifice in this way didn't see it in the beginning, that this was what it was going to be like. But only when it really dwindles down do you realize every morning you wake up, you can't even, people in this energy cannot even sleep. They have to be up all night, provoked, being yelled at by this entity, going through so much night and day, every living second, can no more sleep, no more rest, no happiness, no anything for yourself. I gotta go, if you have to go make money, you want to pursue something, no relaxation. It's just 24/7, 100% servitude. And I'm gonna tell you, you look at why it happened, and we don't know everybody's story, but if you were to know people's story, if you were to understand things, then it would be a little bit more difficult to harbor hate for people. Because no matter how you feel and no matter what happened, you just have to come back to the conclusion that, my goodness, like, you can understand, regardless of if you agree, regardless of if you like it, you have to come back and say, I understand. I understand. And I think that is the beginning of, I don't like ever comparing myself to God in any way, because I mean, these shoes are too big to fill. But it's getting closer to, there's so many times I said, oh my God, this must be how God feels. And that was definitely one of those times where I said, this must be how God feels. Because I remember thinking to myself, when it came to gang stalkers, I thought these people shouldn't be alive. They shouldn't be walking the earth. And then, you go through what you have to go through when they're recruiting you, when they're destroying your life. And then you think to yourself, how would it be possible? What is their choice? What is their choice? And especially when someone is cut off from God by things like not believing in God, or cut off from God from things like things that they've done, things that they've agreed to, that they've participated in. Very trying situation. And eventually you just get more forgiving. And times where you have the ability to do worse, you don't. You just think to yourself, sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, I don't know the full story, but I bet if I knew the story, it would be, because I used to always say, I'm like, who made them like this? How did it get like this? How did it get so bad? I used to say words like, who did this to them? Who made them like this? Never would I say things like it just always was, who made them like this? Because I'm like, no, for it to be this bad, something had to happen. And truthfully, you don't know the story. Things have to happen to people to get them to that point where they could be that cold. They gotta be hateful. And something has to make you that hateful. You have to have a history of a certain kind of behavior that you're used to for you to get to the point where you don't expect anything good from people. For you to get to the point where, the way they behave. Because like I said, there's different classes of them. There's some of them, they're forced. Some of them become that way over time because of the abuse that they go through. And then some of them, it's like they're happy to do it. And for those that are happy to do it, I'm like, nah, something like I always used to say to myself, I'm like, what, how did they get like who made this? I don't think people are born like this. How did this happen? So I think really when God comes to get you, when the Most High comes for you, because I feel like they make an attempt, they make many attempts. When they come for you, you must be wise. And it's a very scary thing to trust, because I think of it from my perspective and I say, like, imagine I've been with God for so long as a trusted advisor, as a trusted friend, as a parental figure, you can say, as a parent, really. And then I hear something that changes my mind, makes me consider, and God's pleading with me not to leave, that I'm making a mistake. And then I have the people around me who I've known for forever pleading with me that I'm making a mistake. I would definitely, it would be hard for me to take that chance, that leap of faith. It would be scary, because this could be a very fatal mistake. Like, what if they're right? And when you are serving something else, as unpleasant as it is, you've survived that way for a while. And especially when it's giving you guidance, when it's giving you intel, intelligence, insight, and you're in a tough spot, because if you leave, you might be in a no man's land, and you might be without friends, and you might be discarded, and you might be used, and you might be abused, and you might be a laughing stock, and you're thinking, I've gone through so much already. This is the worst possible thing. It's difficult calling people out of that life. It's difficult. It's a trying thing. And I have to understand too, you can't just expect after people have gone through things for so long that you could just come and just grab them right away, that they could see things from your perspective. Telling people put out an altar is also not easy, because that altar has shown results for a long time. That altar has been what has been helping them. And then now you come and say, turn it off, come another way. It's difficult. The relationship with spirits is not like the relationship with human beings. Relationships with human beings are unstable and fickle. Relationships with spirit, it's different. Give me a second. The relationship with spirits is a much more stable relationship. It is a relationship that comes with a bit of a guarantee. I want to say a guarantee, because spirits are always there. They watch you, they watch your back, they take care of you, they keep their word. That's the thing about spirits, they keep their word. And when you get really close to spirits, you start realizing, when you get really close to spirits, you start realizing what spirit has to go through to bring you a promise. And I don't know if it's like that for everyone. It's definitely like that with, my parents, that I realize what they have to go through to bring back something for me. And so it builds in you a certain kind of loyalty where you're like, I'm going to go through a lot of things for them, guaranteed. Whatever they need, whatever they ask. So your relationship with spirit, for those of us who have any spiritual relationship, whether in the light or the dark, it doesn't matter. It becomes a relationship that is bonded. Like, some people bond with spirits by blood, but when you bond with loyalty, to me, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's like you will go to the end of the earth for spirit. You will put yourself through hardship, through stress, through strain, because it builds a love that is different. It builds a love where it's like, they're going to come for you through any fire. And so you yourself, for someone to try to break that relationship, it's unthinkable. I'm speaking for myself. It's unthinkable. It's offensive, just the thought of it. What do you mean? There are relationships. I feel like human relationships, people can come between them. Even if a human being has been good to somebody, I'm talking, I've been good to people, and there have still been people that have been able to put a wedge in that relationship. Human relationships, you know that you can lose those no matter how good you are, no matter how faithful you are, no matter what you do. Spirit relationships, you know that no matter what, no one can take spirit from you. You have to take spirit from yourself. You have to pull yourself away. But no matter what, no one can take spirit from you. No one can turn spirit on you. It's your actions, and it's a relationship that comes with guarantees. And there are not those who can understand that. A lot of people don't understand the spiritual walk. People just think you're crazy when you talk about spirit, because people who know spirit, these are like people to you. These are just people who don't have a body. These are not, you don't experience them like the way people experience them. Especially when you carry a spirit with you, this energy is an energy that speaks to you in such a way as someone who loves and has your best interests at heart above all else. So you do feel the need to listen, but you got to look at the results. You have to look at what your situation looks like. When you're working with spirit, your situation is supposed to improve. It could take long, but it's supposed to improve. You're supposed to be better than you came. You're not supposed to be in situations with entities where, listen, when you work with spirit, and I could talk about the Holy Spirit, they have made preparations from you. They save you from yourself. When you are about to walk away from what is good for you, they say, no, we're going to hold you in place. They never stop telling you, you got to forgive, you got to let it go, you got to be kind, you got to this, you got to that. They never stop until you get to the point where it comes to that point, you have to say, thank you so much for saving me from myself. It's a relationship where they will fight for you when you cannot fight for you, when you don't see what is ahead of you and what is for you. So you get to the point with spirit where, you know, you'll battle for spirit. Like, you keep that. It's like they have to rip you guys apart, because like I said, the relationship is so, it's so sturdy, it's so consistent. So when you get to the point where you have a person who has entities that are lower entities, and they're not all lower entities are bad entities. I just want to say that. Not all of us know that, but it's the truth. Not all entities are lower entities, or underworld, I want to say, entities are bad entities. Before I was fully awakened, I would see people say that, like, not all demons are bad, and I'm like, what are they talking about? Because of the way Christianity has groomed your mind. But you got to look at, sometimes you have to step back and you have to look at the situation at large. How is your situation going? Is it dwindling? How is the advice that they're giving you? Does this advice make sense for you? And then you have to look at, well, what are other people saying? It's not easy to ask someone, because when I first read that thing of like, this was the message that came, take down the altars. I knew in my heart it was the right thing to do, but I'm like, boy, that's asking somebody for a lot. That is asking someone for a lot to take down their altars. It's asking for a total shift of mind. It's not easy. That takes time, even if it's just convincing, because it's a strong relationship. It's a relationship that has proven itself over time. So you want to be in spiritual connections that are honest and upfront, and you want relationships where they tell you they don't make false promises to you. They tell you upfront how things are going to go. It's going to take time. It's going to be hard. It's going to be long. We got to be patient. You want them to tell you that. You don't want the type of spirits that lie to you. You don't want the type of spirits that are blatantly here to use you, are blatantly here to, how would I put it? You know, I see people in spiritual relationships where it's very clear that the entity is out for itself and itself only. It's not pushing them to do what's healthy and wise. It's not saying you need more rest. It's not saying you need to take care of yourself. You need your finances in order. It's not saying, it's not a parental energy. It's not a loving energy. Because no energy that loves you is going to want to see you in 24/7 servitude. No entity that loves you is going to make you sit in a situation that is dwindling day by day, that's getting worse and worse. It's bad. When it gets this bad, your spirits should look at you and say, okay, let's think about what we're doing here, the viability of it. They shouldn't just allow people to stay in situations. It's like they have the heart to see you starve. And that's not right. Entities that love you, spirits that love you, don't want to see you suffer. It hurts them to see you go through these things. You have to look, sit back and look and say, so they go after people that don't know what love is. So they love bomb these people. They go after people that don't know, that have never had a good friend, that have never had a proper family member. People who are being used, who are used to being used. That's the people that they go after. And then they keep a hold on these people. They isolate these people from where these people are supposed to get the information to make a balanced decision, where they're supposed to get their help. They want to block people's path in this way. And I know this for a fact. And sometimes everybody can see it but you. It's like whenever you've had, if you've been one of those people who's ever seen someone in a bad relationship, everybody else can see it but them. And I was watching this thing, and it said that the first thing that someone who wants to abuse you does is they try to isolate you from everybody. Because if you're close to people, people are going to see and they're going to say, don't you see what's going on here? But you're going to be the only person that doesn't see it. And then by the time you do see it, it's like people have to come in and save you from yourself, because they're looking at you like, don't you see this person's beating you, they're abusing you, they're cheating on you, they're using all your money, and they don't care. Why are you still there? So you have to come to the point when you're dealing with these spirits, you have to stand back and you have to say, is this where I want to be? Is this a situation that's benefiting me? How has my life gone since this thing has come into my life? You may have, you know, for me, the Holy Spirit's always been with me. God has always been with me. But at my lowest point when they came in, there's no denying my situation has gotten better. There's no denying we've come an extremely long way. We've come extremely far. There's no denying that. There's no, anybody on the outside cannot deny that. That this was a situation that should have eaten me alive easily. And here I am standing, not on my knees, not on my stomach. I'm standing. This is only the love of energies that truly love in an authentic way, because they wouldn't be able to stand to see me otherwise. And they encourage me and they strengthen me and they motivate me. They care about every little thing they care about. Let me tell you something. It is so weird. I gotta call it weird because I've never experienced this before. Not all of us have had family that has been supportive. I have a large family. I don't resonate with them as family. I don't feel the family cords that they feel with each other. I don't feel it, and they've never treated me like that either. It's not to say they've been horrible to me, they haven't abused me, but it's always been like a very distant feeling with them, like I felt like an outsider. And coming into a situation where I finally feel the love I used to see other people have. I used to be like, it's like on the outside looking in, I used to see tight-knit families. I always wanted that for myself as well. I used to see tight-knit families where they were so supportive. They had each other's back no matter what. I mean, they would go to the ends of the earth. Like, you would see parents take loans on their homes to send kids to school, and then the kid would, you know, go to another country and send for the brother, and then the aunt, and then the parent would be there, and then, you know, they'd have a kid, and if the parent was back home, the parent would come up to help, or like just self-sacrificing behavior. You, like, they could depend on each other. They were a unit, and I used to envy that. I used to want that. I didn't envy it, but I used to think like, that's so nice. I wish I would have that. And then I remember asking for the smallest things and not getting it. And I just came to the point where I just wouldn't ask, because first of all, I don't want to hear no or some BS excuse. And then I watched them do even more for like a friend or somebody that's not even family. But also I used to come to the point where I was just like, I'm probably better on my own, because these people are irresponsible. These people are not parents. These people are not cousins, uncles. These people, like, what is this? And when I came into my real family, my soul family, it was everything I had ever wanted. So I had an energy that was like, you didn't eat today. You're not sleeping enough. You gotta take care of your money. You gotta take care of your weight. Take care of your skin. Go do your laundry. Little things. I mean, you would think that they only care about the mission, that they would only care about, um, I don't know, the work that you have to do. No, they care about everything. They want the best for you in every way. And I would be reprimanded for things that you don't think that they would care about. They'd be like, never let yourself gain weight like that again. Never do this, never do. And I'm like, wow, I've never had that. Somebody that was just completely consumed with me and my well-being. Somebody that was advocating for me. I would come to certain times in my life and be like, oh my God, you had this prepared for me before I even got here. When they say in the Bible that God prepares a place for you, I'm sitting in what God prepared for me. A lot of sacrifices I made before gang stalking started was because God was preparing things for me. And I would ask myself, like, why am I working so hard? Like during COVID, I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity to lay back and relax. Why am I working so hard? Why am I working so many hours? Because God knew what was coming. And even though I didn't yet know God in that way, God knew me already and was already preparing so much. And I remember specific times, it's like I caught her. She tried to hide herself, but I caught her times way before. I was like, there is no way, there is no way. And I remember one time laying up in bed thinking to myself, there's no way. Because I was a little nervous. I was like, there's no way. And I know she knew. She knew that I picked up on it. I know she did. But I know for other people that don't have such a relationship, you just don't know you have the relationship. The relationship is there. But for people that don't know they have such a relationship yet, because if you open up, it will come. But for people that don't know yet that you have such a relationship, I want you to know, especially if you're a person, there are more of us. It's nothing to be embarrassed about, because there's more of us than you think. There are people who walk around in a family group, in a friend group, and they feel alone. They feel lonely in that setting. They're isolated. They're the ones that just don't feel connected. People don't like them, or they feel like people don't like them. People don't appreciate them. People are not there for them. There's way more of us than there are people who truly feel whole and connected in their relationships. The majority of people walking this earth do not feel this kinship that we think everybody has. People just pretend really well in front of others. But for those of us who have that relationship, trust me, there's a reason for me why I speak about this so proudly. And there's a reason why I am not concerned. In the beginning I'm like, people are gonna think I'm crazy. But there's a reason why I can come on camera and I'm not concerned what people think, because I'm very confident that God is real. But not only that, it's like I just knew when I came into this relationship, I was like, there's no way I would ever be embarrassed to talk about you or to say the truth, because this is the truth. And when I came into the relationship not knowing even the assignment that God had, I had already said, listen, the day that I get out of this, someone's going to ask me, how did I do it? And I'm going to be honest and upfront, because that's only the decent thing to do. I'm going to say, I got through it because of you, because this is true. And that road kept getting harder and harder and harder till it was so unbearable. It was so unbearable. I was like, there's no way I can endure any more of this. This is crazy. And it's with God's coaching and guidance and love and compassion that I got through. There is no, this is demonic work. There's no other way out of this but with God. There is no possibility. The kind of things that bind you here are supposed to be unbreakable. These soul ties that they put on people that some of us have escaped, do you know in the spirit realm, this is impossible. This is supposed to be impossible to get out of. There is no other way but with God. There are practitioners out here who know, that are still looking at me puzzled, like, how the hell did you do this? It's not possible. It's like some never been done before type of thing. It's not possible to get out of these soul ties. It only happens with God. God has to guide you through. It is, I can't imagine what, it is painful in the spirit. It's not just painful physically. It is suffering in the spirit to get out of it. But the part of it is walking through the door of eternal life. So when God breaks you down or allows you to be broken down, it's because they're breaking you out of your old life. They have to make it so unbearable that you have to run through that door. And when you run through that door, you run into their arms, into eternal life. They are the ones that give you the new life, the new path, the door out, the way out. When they say no way out, they mean no way out. God is the only way. And when they say God gives you eternal life, they mean it. They mean it. They ought to make it so bad that there is no way that you can go back to what you knew. There's no way that you can stay in that old place, because a little bit of comfort or it being bearable in any way means you're not going to leave. It means you're going to say to yourself, you know, it's tough, but whatever, I'm going to handle it. I'm just going to do this and do that. No, they got to tear it down. They have to burn your old life to the ground. And you have to take the attitude of not saying, but I worked so hard, but I built this, but I did all of that. God has better for you. And if you can show the ability to survive the spiritual death, you cannot waste it. You must walk through into new life. Because that thing that you survived is not... Listen, some of the things that we have survived, no one can survive this. Like, this is not self-aggrandizement. I'm telling you from a place of, I don't know what to call it pain, to call it, I say persecution because I don't want to, it's like whatever other word I would use is not strong enough. Agony. To come from that 24-hour-a-day attacks. To come from that, to step into the new life, that's what it takes to have a spiritual death. You got to abandon everything and everyone. And there's no other way to do that but then to show you. But it takes going through that to let go of it. I remember when I was younger and I had a job, and the job didn't even pay that much. It probably paid like 40 something K, 30 something K, but it was, to me, it was a good amount of money at that time. At that time, it was a good amount of money, to be honest with you, because mortgages were cheap, houses were cheap, everything was cheap. Like, you could buy a house with 20K down, even. some people even less. So I was saying to myself, like, there's an opportunity for me to build a business. Actually, I'm lying. Let me be very honest. I was making more than 10K a month. Not doing anything wrong, a legit job. I had my name on the door to my office. I had my own business card. Life had just gotten amazing for me after trials, because I had been through trials. I wouldn't say like gang stalking, but trials that to me were like the worst thing I've ever gone through before. I had been through those trials prior to, and things had just gotten good. Like, I mean, I could go into a store and buy whatever I want. I could buy a car cash. I could do certain things for myself. I'd been through it. And I kept having a tug at my spirit that was like, you need to open a business. And I'm like, I didn't want to do it, because I'm like, why would I leave this much money? Like, I don't even know other people that make this much. I used to go places and people used to try to get me into businesses, and they'd be like, I remember this one guy said, well, it's hard to convince someone making 50K a year. And I'm like, 50K a year? I'm gonna make that in 2 or 3 months. So I was like, why would I leave that? But then one day I said to myself, it's like, what if I'm trading 50K to make 500K? Of course that's worth it. I have to be able to let go of something that may be amazing to me, because I haven't experienced better, to get something that would blow my mind, something that I'm not sure would be possible for me. I don't even see myself in that light. And when I wouldn't relinquish that, when I wouldn't relinquish that, God was just bringing people into my life and making it so obvious. It was like, oh my God, it's so obvious. People are like, you're supposed to be a business owner. You're supposed to have your own business. This one lady looked at me and she said, you know, you're supposed to have your own business, right? And that was the last straw, where I was just like, because I was trying to do the business and work at the same time. So I'm saying to myself, let me grow it. Let me do this. Let me do that. And God's like shoving me through that door. And this is how it works with everything. You're going to look at the thing that you built before and you're like, I put so much work in so much. You can't tell me nothing, okay? Right when I got my store in malls, that is when I have to give it up. And I'm like, you know, in my head, I'm like, it's such an accomplishment for me. And it might not be a big deal for everybody, but for me, it was a big deal. And I'm thinking, I got my stores in malls, I got my house that I worked so hard for. And without putting pictures of this house up on the internet, people cannot understand the size of the land around the house. Like, they're just, I mean, yes, there are people with way more, but I'm in the city, an expensive city. It's a very expensive house. I'm the youngest one there. I might have been the only black person there. I don't think I saw another black person. I don't know if there was one other black person there. There was one other black guy. I was one of the youngest people there. I mean, I was like rubbing shoulders with people who were looking at me like, you're my daughter. They're like, you're my child. They would give me advice like that. You're just my child. Like, they talk to me about things like, you better do this with the pipes and you better do this with the filters and whatever. And it's like, they just met me for the first day, but they're looking at me like, what are you doing with this house? What are you doing living this life? I worked so hard to get there. And it takes a lot of, there was a point I started sinking a little bit. I didn't really, but I starting to think about everything I was losing, all the hours of work. And God would like snap me out of it immediately, and it's like, don't worry about anything, you're gonna get it all back. Do not think about it, just forget about it. You gotta just forget about it. Forget about all of that stuff. Forget, it's like, there is going to be better. It's gonna come with happiness. It's gonna come with peace and freedom and spiritual immortality. Immortality is not just saying, listen, now, for those of us who have immortality in the spirit, it also means that we have immortality here. It means that we're protected. Our life is protected. Our life is sacred. We are guarded. But immortality in the spirit means that people cannot come and just bind to you anymore like they did in your old life. People cannot come and steal from your spirit and steal from your energy and steal from what God's giving you. So it does take going through that fire and having that rebirth and coming into marriage with the Holy Spirit, marriage with your spiritual family, to be able to be protected in the way that you need to be protected. You cannot be handed anything without that protection, because it will attract wolves. As a matter of fact, it will attract demons. It will attract demonic energy. And this is not the kind of demons that, not the cute ones, because there are cute demons. Like, to me, Baal looks like a cute demon. It's cute. It's the truth. It's cute. It's not scary. But there are those that you don't want to meet, no matter how much protection you have on you. There are those. I've seen those before. Those ones. You don't want to meet them. This is not the kind of energy you want to play games with. So, if it is this hard in this level, can you imagine what level the millionaires and the billionaires and the celebrities and the politicians and the presidents and the priests and the princes are at of demonic possession? People that are in a stronghold, like people that have powerful positions, that have influence not only over people but over nations. People that can go and get something done for these energies, because you at your level, you can just bring a couple souls here and there. But if you have control over a country, these entities, the kinds that come for you, these are not training wheel energies. Baal is a training wheel energy. This is an energy that attacks what is already inside of you. It makes you turn on yourself. So it is a tricky energy. It's not dangerous, but it's a training wheel energy. I mean, there are energies that are like the military version of entities. These are the ones. These are the ones that are, you got to fortify yourself in the spirit before you can even think about situations like that. These positions that we sit in, where you're learning these hard lessons, these are lessons. These are not meant to take you out. These are meant for you to survive them. But these lessons you learn are nothing compared. Mother said to me, you don't even know what suffering is. While I'm winded, while I'm stressed out, they're like, you don't even know what suffering is. They're like, there's way worse. I'm like, worse or way worse than this? I know this. I know this. I know that there's worse. There's worse than gang stalking. There's worse than this gang stalking thing that we're going through here. This is going to be baby food for you. At some point, you're going to get to the point where you're going to see things. This is going to be baby food. Like, you're going to see things. I pray not. I pray we don't. But I'm almost certain that's what we're here for. You need resources where you're going. Not just because you want to just have them to have them, because they are the key of entry to where you need to be. You can't go to where you need to go like this. When Cinderella needed to go to the ball to get her inheritance was to be a princess. When she had to go to the ball and her fairy godmother showed up, they had to give her new clothes, a chariot, people in the front and the back of the chariot. She had to appear on the level of the prince. And they said to her, you have until midnight. All of this goes away after midnight. So she had to come and shine. She already had inside what she needed, the kindness, the radiance, the personality, but she couldn't come in those clothes, she would have never made it through. And so she comes through and they bless her. And so all she has to do is be herself, make an impression, and she has to run out of that place by midnight, to the point she forgot a shoe. All orchestrated by her fairy godmothers. Orchestrated. They come together and they say, what does she need to get this done? And she gets there and she has to run out. And by the time she gets to the road, she looks like a beggar again on the side of the street in like worn out clothes. And then when they come to the house, they don't even want to make her try on the shoe. The stepsisters are like, she's just a servant. And they're like, no, they said we have to try everybody. Again, you never knew. The fairy godmothers could have been in the back, like saying a little prayer right there, like, no, 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 change this man's mind. Make sure that she tries on the shoe and it fits like a glove, because that's her shoe. You need resources for where you're going. So what you want wants you, but you cannot get it in this condition. You're not ready for it. You have to go through your Cinderella phase. You have to be on the floor cleaning up. You have to be having people, basically spit on you, be the servant of the house, be the one who's rejected. Your only friends are mice. You have to be making everything from scratch. Before you can get to a place, you have to be in a place of humility, a place of gratitude, a place of being able to accept a blessing and being appreciative of something that comes to you. Because from that place, when someone meets you, they can see something in you. They can see a light in you. You've made an impression on that person that is going to last. You're gonna have to be the kind of person, and this is not magic, this has to be you. You have to be the kind of person that when you get somewhere and you speak to people, you speak to them from a place of authenticity and you make an impression and they feel something, some quality. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know what put you on your knees. They don't know what almost took you out. They don't know what you had to survive and come from, but they know when I speak to you, I feel something. You're the person who leaves an impression on me. You're the person with a story, a captivating story, a real story. You've been through things. These things have changed you. And every time I've gone through one of these things, it makes me more humble. It makes me more human. Even though I lose myself for a bit, I get angry, I get hateful, I get bitter, I get upset, and then I gotta heal it. And after the healing, I become a softer person, a better version of myself because of the hardships. You have to be the kind of person, when you get your resources, you're not arrogant and you don't have a repellent spirit, a spirit that pushes people away. Like you think, I'm this and I'm that. No, no, no. You have it and you don't even wear it on yourself. People have to look at you and say, like, I know who you are technically, but you're so kind, you're so warm, you're so this and that. And you're like, because you have the mentality that you know it could be taken away from you at any time. You're grateful for having it. And you know why you have it. It's through the grace and mercy of God. So you're a humble person. You come this far not to, God doesn't leave you alive in these situations to stay here. You got to keep moving. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing past. You got to keep putting one leg in front of the other leg. You got to keep going. You need your entry ticket to the next phase of life, because that's where you're needed. Whatever your gifts are, whatever your talents are, because remember, we come here for spiritual fights. We come here for spiritual missions. I remember I asked God, I said, like, why is this so hard? And God said, if it were easy, we would have given it to someone else. I was like, what? So I already know I'm the person that they're going to give the fights that are difficult. And sometimes I can see why. I can see why they give me those ones and they don't give it to others. Because on this journey, they lose people. They lose good people all the time to this struggle. They lose people. There is this alluring pull that dark entities have, where they lure you in. This love bombing thing is very serious. They lure you in little by little. They change you, and all of a sudden you look so different, you act so different, you're into different things, you're not the same person. If you were to see a picture of yourself before you got involved with certain people and after, you can see it on yourself. I used to see it in people all the time. They look, I would see it with a reader. I know when they take the reader out, the reader used to be so sweet. She used to tie her head. She used to be so family oriented. And then all of a sudden now the clothing has changed. She's revealing herself. She's just, everything about her is different. She's a different person. They come in and they influence you and they get you little by little. When they come in these friendships, they start telling you, why don't you try, do your hair like this, do this surgery, do all of this. And before you know it, they slowly walk you down that path. And it's the path of destiny swapping, because people can see those things on you before you can see it. No matter how smart you are, no matter how good you are in the spirit, you are susceptible, and you must remember that. You must come to terms with that. Be humble enough to know that. None of us, we need God so desperately. None of us is so spiritually strong that we don't need to keep our eyes open. We don't need to. This is why we pray so much. People would think you're boring when you have that spiritual practice of praying in such a religious manner. I have a non-negotiable about certain times I pray, but I keep close to the Spirit all the time. I feel so far. If I've spent a couple hours, I'm saying, my goodness, it's just been a couple hours, but I don't like to be away. I do not like to be away. I like to talk to them all the time. I want to understand what's going on. I ask them questions. I ask for advice on everything. We talk about everything. It's literally your best friend. So it's like that mother relationship that I never had. I had it for a little bit with my mother. I had it for a little bit, and then I lost it. And it's a good thing I had it, because I was able to recognize what it felt like. This was better than any friendship because it was safe. Friends, you know, like there might be gossip, they might leave you, but this was safe. And with the father relationship, you feel so protected, you feel so cherished, you feel so, how do I even describe that? When a father loves you, it just feels like you are very special, you are prized. These are sacred relationships. So everybody should come into that. They are forgiving and understanding to the point when I see them understanding with other people, I'm like, oh my God, this person's abusing your kindness. This is going too far. I really feel that way. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I also understand that even I need that. I'm grateful for having it. So I can't necessarily say don't do it for anybody else. But they want you to have what you are supposed to have. They need it. They need you to have it. Because it's like saying, my son is the president. Now, why on earth would I not want my son to? There are some parents that don't want their son to be the president. They don't. Those are people who compare themselves. But if you have a parent who wants the best for you, they want you to be the president. Because you know what? The minute they need something, they know where to go. It helps. It works for everybody. It works for everybody when your son is in the right place, your daughter is in the right place. Because you know when you need something, you have boots on the ground. You have somebody right there, already ready to go, already in position, who can make something happen. So that's why you want to put your most faithful children, your strongest ones, you want to put them strategically in good places. You can trust them in difficult situations. You can trust them to hang on. You know that these ones, and I'm going to describe what it feels like. And if you don't know what it feels like, we should be expecting of ourselves in these situations. If you have doubt that God wants you and you're a strong person, you're crazy. Because who does not want strong people? Who does not want that type of a soldier? Why on earth would you not want someone, would they not want someone that can survive the shit you've survived? Excuse my language, sorry, it hops out sometimes. Why? Why would they not want someone that can endure what you endure? That's not hard to believe. They need people like that. That's like the saying the army only wants people they can manipulate. No, they want people that are gonna hop on a broken leg. They want people that are gonna continue fighting through injuries. That's the kind of people that they really want. They're thinking if we can have a whole army of people like that, we're unstoppable. So trust me, your endurance and your strength and your obedience and your humility and your ability to be teachable, these are some of the strongest traits. Why on earth would you not want to keep someone like that happy? You want someone like that to be in bliss, so they're happy enough to get up and go do what they're, it's like having a staff member that goes out of their way, and then people are going to be like, well, how comes they get days off, and how comes they get to come in late, and how, what? Because they stay late and they don't ask for anything, because they come in on a Saturday, because I can trust them not to steal, because they tell me what's going on around here. Whatever they need, I'm going to give it to them because I want to keep them happy. It's the same way in the spirit. So tonight I want to talk about, I'm still on time, I want to talk about initiation, spiritual initiation. Spiritual initiation. You see, when you're working with dark entities, there is no real initiation. You could just pick up a candle, pick up an entity, go get it. They'll work with anybody. They don't care. They just want a soul. A soul is a soul. For direct access to God, you need to go through initiation. And this is not the universal initiation, not initiation into covens, not initiation into secret societies. I'm talking about universal initiation. Is a multi-year process. This is not a 1 year thing. Okay, it's a multi-year process. This is the toughest thing you're ever gonna have to go through in your life. Probably not even initiation. Initiation is not the toughest thing, but it's the cost of entry is your initiation. And spirit is going to just let you go through everything. Things that are meant to break other people down, you will have to go through to get through initiation, and you will have to survive. It takes mental and emotional resilience. Excuse me, when they say God works in mysterious ways, I have now seen it. You'll be fighting someone the whole time, and you guys are both initiating each other because you guys have the strength to break each other down. Like if there ever was a person that could do this initiation, it would be the two of you guys. It's like, this is where the twin flame thing comes to me, where it's like, this is the person that could break this other person down. We think that twin flame means soulmate. Soulmate means like, twin flame is like a mirror of your soul. And it could be a mirror in the upright or a mirror in the reverse. But it's like, I can admit in my situation, you share attributes with these people. And these attributes you don't have to look at it like good or bad. It could just be like strength. It could just be like never giving up, always finding another way. So you're literally fighting. You've met your match. You've met your match. And so you get to the point in this fight where God has to break it up, because God's like, these are two energies that are going to take it to the death. There's not a day. I know that in my situation. God has to break it up, because otherwise, God knows there's not a day that you guys are not going to wake up where you're going to start again. They have to referee this thing the whole time, because it's going to, you know that nobody gave up. Nobody gave up. Nobody gave in. This is what these energies are built for. These energies are built for fighting. And if you have to think about if God crafted you, because they did, and if God said, well, I need someone who can do this, that, or the third. And they built you for fighting. Then they built you in a certain way. It's not your fault, it's how you are. So you thrive in a fight where some people get broken down or tired in fighting. You thrive in it. They have to stop you from fighting, and stopping you from fighting is a challenge. I mean, it's challenging to get me to stop, because once I put my head in it, I'm in this to win. I've never not won. I don't even know what losing is. I don't even know what giving up is. I don't even know what that is. So it's like, if this is my obstacle and I can't go around it, I'm prepared to go through it by any means necessary. And this is the initiation. So it comes to the point where they're like, okay, we're done. You're done. You're done. It takes a while to slow you down. It might take months to get you to stop, because it's like every day they're like, you gotta stop. But they know you're like that too. And you know, low-key, God likes to see it, because they're like, yes, this is what we built you for. This is how we built you. So it's good to see that it works. So it's a mysterious thing when you get there and they're like, no, you guys were just initiating each other. It's now we're done. Surprise. Like, it's time to stop, and it's time to move forward. And it can take you a while to adjust to that mentally, because you're like, wait a minute, I thought you said, and then they say to heal it and to forgive it and to this and that. It's a very strange thing. When you think about angels, you think about like Jesus. You think about like, you don't think about the way that it is. Not there are different kinds of angels. There are angels who are there to just love people. And I've met some of those. You can tell they're just there to love people. They're just walking kindness, walking love. And then there's angels that are here to fight. They are here to fight. And that is something that when I woke up was, I had to wrap my head around it. Like, what do you mean we're just here to fight? But it's like, when you see what you're here to fight, you're like, oh, God had to build something for this. Because, yeah, these entities are ruthless and toothless. If Ball is like this, just imagine the bigger ones. And I don't just mean bigger in stature, I mean bigger in rank. God said to me, they don't really consider Ball a demon. And I don't either. It's cute. They're like, we don't even really consider that a real demon. Ball is still dangerous though, because when your lower nature, when there are hooks in your lower nature, it can really make you self-destruct. It could take down things. It could get inside of things and it can take it down from the inside, and you cannot minimize that. You cannot minimize that. It is still dangerous. It's just that, I was looking at it, and this is a weird story. I was looking at it and I was like, it's older than it looks. It looks cute. It looks young. It behaves young because it's a baby demon, but it's much older than it looks. It can take a beating. But there are things, I promise you, I've seen them that are just not something that you want to encounter ever. It will take teams to bring these things down. So what you have gone through on your own, because you had to do your initiation alone. But these are things that are going to take teams. It's going to be stressful in a team to take these things down. These are people like us. These are what we are built for. We are crafted in this way to endure this. So sometimes you take a bit of abuse. It's a lot of abuse. It feels like it's a lot of abuse now. You take some abuse to harden you and get you ready for the real thing. Because these things that are instituted in places, if you need a lot of money to access these places, that means these entities have a lot of power to be up there, to be controlling things up there. So if you are meant in your life to go that far, that is because you have the ability to do it. The soft skills are there. They need to give you the actual skills to do the job. And one of these skills is the ability to suffer. So this initiation in general with the universe is not just about self-mastery. I've talked about that a lot. Mastering yourself was ball. Mastering yourself was learning healing, learning forgiveness, learning when to pivot, and it's a hard pivot to go from fighting someone to trying to save someone. That's a hard pivot. That's a hard turn. And it was like full speed in one direction, then you have to like stop and go the other way. You have to be able to be obedient when you don't understand the plan. You have no idea what's going on. You're like, this is not serious. I don't even agree with it. Like, you have to go along with plans you don't agree with. You have to trust the way that they tell you it has to go. And they have to do whatever it takes to get you there, because some things are very hard to do. This is about evolution. That's why you go through a death and rebirth process. It is about evolving yourself as a person. And I used to talk about all the time being a grand master. Being one who is able to start here spiritually and graduate. But nobody can trust you with the amount of control that you want without being able to control yourself, without being able to listen. Because you cannot put the nukes, the codes for the nukes, you cannot put it in the hands of people who fight out of emotion, who cannot control themselves, who cannot say when it's time to stop. So they have to see how you operate. And it's happened like that with me. There's been many evolutions in my process. Like when they were nervous when just starting out, I was like, I didn't realize they were so nervous. It wasn't because there was an ability to fail. It was because they were so nervous I might give up on myself, or I might give up on the fight. And so I remember there came a certain point of the fighting where they all breathed a sigh of relief. I'm not joking. Like, spiritually, they were holding their breath. And I didn't recognize it because that's all I knew. They were holding their breath. And when I got past that point, they kept repeating, the worst part of it is over. The worst part of it is over. And I'm telling you, that was not the worst part of it for me. Crazy enough, it was the worst part to them, but there are parts that were worse to me than that. Every part of it was difficult, but in the beginning was when they were most scared, because they lose people in the beginning. Because when people start seeing how difficult this thing is, they're like, they just relent, they just stop. They just say, I can't go through, and it doesn't stop. And it doesn't stop for years. So they have to make sure that they can check every box properly. I mean, that you suffer past the point that any normal person would have already given up, to know that you're going to continue to endure regardless of what. So these hardships will not be over for an extended period of time. Years long battles. So when you get to your next trial, because you will, that's the point. I think most of us going through this have one big trial. That's what we were trained for. When you get there, hunker down, because it's not going to end soon. These kind of things that you're here to take out, these kind of things are not coming out in like 3 months. These things have invested in this. These things have put in these barriers because they knew this day was coming. They still know these days are coming. While you're being initiated, they're watching. These things that you're here to take down, these entities, they are watching our initiation. They're monitoring, and they're seeing our progress. Why would they not? They have a vested interest in that. It's like saying, I own Facebook and a little app is coming up. You don't think I'm going to be investigating it and watching its every move and watching its progression? Of course I would. This is how it works. So when you get there, just know they know who you are already. They know what you're capable of. They are making plans for you now that you haven't even gotten out of this battle. They're already making plans. They're already watching. They're waiting. They're prepared. And they're telling their people that they possess, that they've put in power, they're telling their people that a threat is coming to fortify things. So just know that it's coming. But this is what you're here for. Some people are too important to lose. They are too important to lose. So they're given no choice. They cannot be lost. You'll notice on this fight that there are some people that will be sacrificed just to get you to your initiation, to get you to pass. There are some people that get swallowed up just to get the rest of us to pass. It doesn't mean that God's going to abandon them, but it means that this is the way it must go. Because we got to get certain people through successfully. And when these people get through and they've broken through properly, they can do the rest. They can take care of the rest much easier. But they have to break through. They need certain people to weaken the gates, to weaken the doors, to pull things down so that other people could just run through that don't have the ability. Or we're just not built for it. We're not built for that kind of a fight. So some of us are given no choice. Some of us, what other people might say, oh, God gives you like extra favor. Yes and no. It's just that you have the ability for it. It's like if you have 5 kids and all of them, of the 5 kids, you only have 1 boy and he's very strong and the rest are girls. That's the one you're going to get to do heavy lifting and heavy labor. That's the one the father is going to take the son with him to go work or go do it because he has the ability. It looks like he has more favor. It looks like he gets a bigger plate of food. It looks like he gets more money. It looks like he gets more freedom. It looks like he gets more leeway, but it's because of the burdens that he has to carry. They have to give him a little bit more. So some people are too important to lose. God has to hold you in place until the job is done, because if it were possible for you to do it, you would have already done it. People like us are pushed to our limits well past the limit, because you have to do something here. And that is the ability to have no limits. When you meet a new limit, you have to transcend it and keep going. That's what's happened to me. Every time I've hit a wall and a limit, I had to transcend that limit and keep going. I have no limits. I used to call gang stalkers no limit soldiers because it's like they just kept going. Now that's what I am. You have to have no limits to how much you can endure, to how far you can go, to how much solutions you can look for. No limits. You just keep pushing the boundaries every day. It's what is required. You do not come here to let yourself and the universe down. So there is no such thing as giving up. These things are for people who just don't know how to give up. Once you're built like that, you're a problem. You are a problem. And I've called gang stalking and these initiations, I said this is how mother and father build their undefeatable army. Because everybody here is like that. Mad people. These are people you call mad people. I used to joke, I try to joke and say how everybody else is mad. And they're like, and what about you? And I'm like, not me, I'm the sane one. They're like, no. They're like, no. You gotta be mad to do some of the stuff that you gotta do here. You gotta be crazy. The kind of people that you have to deal with, these are not people that anybody wants to deal with. These are people that people are scared of. These are going into places people are scared to go, doing things and you have to be built as a person that already feels no fear, that just doesn't feel fear. You can see entities and not care. You can know what kind of situation you're in and just not be afraid. You can know that you're in the middle of being sacrificed and not panic and just say, well, it is what it is. You have to be the person that says, over my dead body. And you mean it. And when you say over my dead body, it's not a saying. Like, you're literally like, you'll get it when I'm dead. And mean it. You got to be the kind of person that doesn't care about things. Spirit says to me, you're very silly. You're very silly. What do you mean you don't do this for money? What do you mean you don't like money? It's like, no, if I did this for money, I wouldn't do it. I'd give up on it. I'd be like, yeah, I can make this another way. I don't have to be fighting entities like this. This is crazy. But the truth is, you have to be someone who's willing to take personal loss in every way. You have to be a person who pledges that if you're losing things that you worked for, your money, your reputation, friendships, anything, you have to be able, that's what the initiation is. You got to be able to lose anything in the service of your mission to be able to fulfill the task. So if you said you're going to do it, they really expect it. And one thing I can tell you, you're going to hit roadblocks all the time, because what Spirit does, I might be skipping. Yes, I am skipping. Let me follow my list. You have to hit roadblocks over and over and rise above them all the time. So what it does is it gets you the confidence to say that no matter what roadblock you hit, you're going to rise above it. Because you always do. You always find a way. You always find another way to get something done. They like seeing that. There was this one time I was going through, the worst, well, a lot. And they're like, the universe likes to see you get over challenges. And I'm like, what? Get me out of here. What are you talking about? But it's the truth. Now I see why. Because them watching you get over it, they're like over there like, amazing, good job. That was lovely. Because they know what you're coming into. So they want to make sure that you can handle this. And it's like, I always say to them, I have moods. I don't make decisions out of moods. I don't. I encourage people, don't make a decision out of a mood. A mood, we change them like clothes. You're in and out of those things. And my moods change fast. I'll be in one mood one minute, and the next minute I've changed complete. It's like 180, sorry. Complete opposite mood for no reason. There was no catalyst. I'm just like, yeah, no. Because people like myself don't give up. I can feel like down a bit, like, oh, this is so annoying, grumble. And then the next second I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. And I'm back to it. They like seeing that because they want to know that they can depend on you. In the beginning, they used to be nervous when I used to get into a mood. And then now they're just like, oh, she's just in a mood. She's in one of those moods. They just relax because they know I'm going to be back. I'm going to have a plan. I'm going to have something. It's going to be a good plan too. It's going to be a dependence. They want to see that, because what Spirit actually does is Spirit gives you a desired outcome. People think you're winning because God's giving you everything step by step. No. What God does is God gives you intelligence, what you might need to know. You're going to have to ask for some more intelligence. Sometimes it's like you have to send Spirit out, like, go help me figure this out. And you got to get back with a desired outcome. This is how I work with people as well. If I'm going to hire anybody, I want to give you what it is I want you to produce, and then I'm going to go to something else. I don't want to produce it for you. I don't want to micromanage you. I want to be able to trust you with what I gave you, because there are other things. So you need to look at it like this. Your initiation, they might walk super close with you, but they might have to start pulling back at a certain point. I'm not saying that Spirit's not omnipresent, doesn't have to be everywhere, but there are other people that need a lot. And so if they can pour into those people and pull those people up, and they know that you can handle things over here, it's a good thing. So you have to think about like really pulling yourself up. Nothing wrong with being needy and needing encouragement and advice in certain things here and there, but you gotta call spirit in when you got a plan, when you got something you gotta do, and you need spirit to bless it. Like, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing, this how I want to do it. What do you think about it? Do you think it's a good idea? Watch spirit do things with you. This is how it actually works. You have to sit there pacing the floor like, I just got blocked. How am I going to get out of this one? It's like the cartoons. Every day you wake up and the arch nemesis has the same clothes on. Actually, all you guys have the same clothes on because you're living the same day. It might be a different circumstance, it's a different challenge, but they're here to block you. This is your arch nemesis. They're here to block you. So you know you're going to go through blockages, and you got to keep finagling your way out of it. You got to keep finding another way. Every day, they trusting you to do that you have to spark new ideas, new things have to happen. It's needed. That is a skill. So you might need information, you might need maybe resources, you might need tools, you might need spiritual gifts, but the work comes down to you. They want the outcome. Can you bring it back? Can you come back with what we asked? One of the things that you have to do in this, and for me, is I had to step fully into my spirituality, something that I was scared about before. So I used to be nervous of those things before because I grew up Christian. And then I had to step out of it. And I had to accept the truth for what it was, that it wasn't just what I thought. There was more to it. And there were unexpected parts of it. And these parts were not demonic in the way that one would think. And I started realizing on the onset of this, one second. I recognized that on the onset of it, that it wasn't that Christianity wasn't true, but it wasn't the full story. Like, there was so much more, and witchcraft is really effective. Witchcraft works way faster than prayers. What is this? I had to explore all of it. Once you start this journey, you gotta let it go. You gotta let yourself free fall into your spirituality, into your spiritual walk, because you're not going to get out of this just by what you see. You're gonna deal with a lot. You have to open your mind to things that you would have judged people for prior to. You have to open your mind to saying, maybe this could be true. It starts slowly, but you have to step into it. Another thing that I had to do is I had to step into my shadow self, which I always knew was there. It used to scare me. And saying that you scare yourself is, you can only imagine. It just used to scare me. I just knew that there was another side of me. I think people who managed to upset me knew that there was another side too, because I always saw fear in people, like when I used to get mad. And I was a kid. And I used to force myself not to get upset. And I used to just let people get away with everything. Not because I was so nice, not because, well, I am very nice, but because it's like, I know if I step into that side of myself, I'm like, there's just no telling. So I have to calm down, and they have to calm me down all the time. I have to calm down, and I have to say, you know what, just, I can let this go. Because if I don't, but I have to step into my shadow, because being here takes being in that shadow. These kind of entities that you're here to fight, these things, you cannot be in like one of those Jesus energies to do this. This is not gonna work. These things you have never experienced anything like this. And I am not there yet, but I'm telling you, I know. So when you're given a desired outcome, you're going to need freedom to achieve it. Freedom to make plans, freedom to use your common sense, freedom to come up with things. You're going to need freedom to achieve the things that you need to achieve. You have to take calculated risks, and most of what you're doing is taking risks. There are no guarantees here because you're dealing with entities. This is the part that a lot of us don't want to understand. The gang stalking is about entities. It's not about, this is spiritual stuff. Who cares about the circumstances? That's why I'm shocked that the spiritual people here keep looking at the 3D. They're fighting, they haven't cleaned a damn thing up in the 5D and they keep fighting it in the 3D. But they're supposed to be spiritual people who are supposed to understand this. You're supposed to clean up this mess up there in the astrals. That's where you clean it up. This is a spiritual thing. And these people are also being destiny swapped. These people are also were turned into human sacrifices a long time ago. Maybe they know it, maybe they don't. Hopefully they know it. Hopefully they see who their real enemy is. Because it's not the people that they're fighting. That's not the enemy here. They have to fight the entity. They have to get that out of their spiritual bodies. They have to clean up the mess. They have to make good with the Most High. They have to repent. That is what gets you out of these places. They need a new beginning. Why are you fighting to save something that's burned to the ground? It's literally done. There's no winning there. Spirit needs to give you, like I said, resources. And resources not just physical. You need access to infinite wisdom, which is spirit. You need premonition, which is, I look at spirit sometimes like an AI. They can calculate the probability of things working, with remarkable accuracy, despite people's free will. I guess you kind of get that after being a spirit for so long. They can calculate the likelihood of something working. And you need access to knowing if the way that you're using is the best way, the only way, the most desired way. You need strength that comes from you. They cannot make you strong. No matter how great the plan is, if you cannot endure it, Spirit's like, listen, it's guaranteed we can do it. It's only if you can wait. Can you be patient? We can do it. We need time. It can be done. Can you wait? Can you hold on? That's the thing. That's where it comes. Can the human hold on? Because otherwise, if you want it, don't give spirit time. Like time limits on your desires. Like, I wanted in this time. No. You're complicating it. I want it, but I want it done like this. No. That's why they give us a desired outcome. They don't give us parameters as far. They might say, well, it must look like this. You can't do this. You can't go out of that way. But it can't be like, they don't come and they give you like a manual of how to do. You're going to have to pivot. You're going to have to change plans. You're going to have to do something a little bit different. So in the same way that Spirit does not give you a step-by-step guide on how to do things, and they give you that openness, you have to also give them that as well. You can't tell Spirit, I want it done exactly like this, because that might not be the best way. There might be a better solution. The better solution might just take 3 months more, a year more, but it will be infinitely better than the rush solution. So it's like you have to get yourself to a point where you guys are communicating and they have the ability to communicate with you openly. True co-creation is a partnership. It's not a dictatorship. So you can't be laying down saying, well, Spirit's going to take care of me one day. No, you got to get up and actively start doing things. You got to get up and actively take a very active forefront role in what's going on. You can't leave everything up to Spirit. In the beginning, when you're just waking up, yes, Spirit's gonna, it's like a baby, like, they're gonna take more time and patience, but eventually it does come to the point where you gotta get up and you gotta move. You got to keep figuring things out. You got to come with things. You got to come with more solutions. You got to start thinking ahead. You got to start thinking of situations. They'll remind you that it's teamwork. You guys got to come together, but they can't do the strength part. So you have to be able to have enough strength to fight through whatever it is that you're fighting through. Renew your hope in your situation. See the light at the end of the tunnel. Build yourself back up emotionally when you're feeling down, when you're feeling drained. You have to be able to be trusted with things. You're going to get what I call is immortality. It is where they protect your life so seriously that you are not meant to pass away. You are meant to go through all of this. They will make sure. See, these are the parts that they can do. These are their parts. Keep you covered in the spirit. Make sure that you're on your feet, that you're alive, so you can do what it is that you have to do. Spiritual immortality, or when you enter into the kingdom of God, the only place you can get new life, eternal life, when you have that in the spirit, then you have that protection in the physical as well. Part of immortality is good health. It's not just immortal, like where they can't take you out in the spirit. It's also good health, because health is wealth. Like, you don't take it seriously until you lose your health. All of these things come together, and you need all of these things. These are part of the resources that you need to do your job. And I guess this ties into strength, but one of the biggest ones is endurance. You just need to be able to say, listen, I don't care. Whatever time period it takes, because you can't put pressure on spirit on when, how much longer. I know we want to, but you got to get to the point where you're looking at the work that's in front of you step by step, getting the work done, accomplishing things, not looking at when or how long, because we don't know. Things keep changing. And when you're dealing with entities also have knowledge as well. So you're going to be dealing with people that are going to have access to certain knowledge as well. So you need to be able to just keep going. You got to get from a place where spirit is so nervous of the beat down that you're going to take in this thing. And then you got to get to the point where you're like, look, I'm at the point where I'm like, look, it needs to end, and I don't care how it ends. And they're like, well, it might feel like this and it might go like this. I'm like, so be it. Let's do it. They're like, are you sure? I want it done the fast way. We got to fight. We got to fight. We got to get back to fighting. Then we're going to get back to fighting. We're going to fight differently this time, though. That's the point that I'm at. And it makes their job easier knowing, because let me tell you something. When they go fight for you, people are going to come back and they're going to hit you, because they can't see spirit. They can't get to spirit. They're going to get to you. That's a saying that we have at home. When they can't get to the Father, they get to the Son. They can't get to you, they get to your kids, because your kids are weaker. They can't get to the kids, they get to the pets. They will lash out on anything they can take a hit to make you cry. They know that you're strong, but they want to see you in pain. You got to take a hit. So sometimes the first place people go for is what you love. Not sometimes. The first place anybody goes for is what you love. They could take you out, but they're going to take out things you love first and leave you last. Or leave you alive. It's worse. So you have to get to the point where you're like, look, do it the hard way. Do it the harsh way. And let the chips fall where they may. You go into a fight like that. Imagine going to a fight with people like that. Versus people you're going to have to be like, man, if I hit them this way, they're going to hit you that way. You're like, no. Hit them that way. Let's get this over with. I'm ready. This makes something so doable, so easy, because spirit can do their part. Don't you ever think they can't do their part. They could do their part. You are what they worry about. And sometimes some of us don't like to see our loved ones fighting, and it hurts us. Listen, it's the mission. That's life. That's how it has to go. It has to go like that. You have to accept that part of it, that it's a fight. And in a fight, You gotta come in fighting form. You don't come to a fight, well, some people do. Some people come to a fight. You know, you can show up in a fight in multiple ways. There's some people that show up in a fight and they're in their crazy person energy. They're in devil energy. It is what it is. They're in devil energy, and that could be scary. Some people come to a fight and they're very calm and quiet and pensive and observant. That is scary. Some people come and they're in a rage and they're lashing out. Some people come and they're in a mocking mood. They just want to trigger you because they want to fight. So it depends. But either way, it's like Spirit prefers it not to be a certain way, but really they just want the job done. That's what it boils down to. Sometimes it's like, listen, I can give it to you, might not be the way that you like it. You might not approve of my methods, but you know, I got it done. So sometimes that it's like they're not happy, but they'll settle for that. I'm not saying you're gonna make it a habit, but they want it done. They want it done. So sometimes when I see people, like I talk about this girl, this reader, that she lost her kids, she got pushed out of her home and all that. When I look at people like that, I'm like, listen, I was wincing sometimes the way she was going down, but I was like, listen, at least she got it done. That's what it comes down to. At least she got it done. And she may have went down in whatever way, but she is a motivation. That girl went to jail and came back, and I think she probably has more followers, definitely more respect. That you rank up like that. You rank up like that spiritually. Being able to take a hit and come back from it, doesn't matter how you come back. If you come back with one limb, it's even more respect, because it's not easy to take these hits. It's not easy to stand up like to that kind of stuff. It's not easy to stand by yourself physically through those kind of things. So, you know, sometimes it's like we're gonna get it done however we can get it done, you know, and it is what it is, you know. Sometimes the nice way is just not, it's not the way. And like I said, you cannot lose. You have Spirit on your side. You cannot lose. Like the whole universe agrees with you. It's not even agrees with you, it's what you're here for. You can't lose. The thing is, do you have what it takes for how long it's going to take? And walking through the valley of the shadow of death means that you're going to be walking through some very scary situations. So can you endure? I'm going to say all your skills matter. All skills matter at this point. And sometimes you're just not. When I say all skills matter, I'm not just talking about the ability to endure. I'm not just talking about the ability to take a hit. I'm talking about laughing through things, getting over things. You know, I have this thing where I can be very triggering. I think even that was a skill here that was needed. It's like you just come to the point where you just realize that you have to use literally everything that you have, and everything that you have is a gift. Everything you have is a talent. Everything Spirit gifts you with is something that you're going to need. There's going to be a point that you're going to need to put it in use. We cannot be waiters. We cannot be people that wait on Spirit. We have to be doers. I'm going to repeat that. You cannot just sit there and say you're going to wait. You have to do. You have to figure things out. You have to go the extra mile. You have to problem solve over and over, rise above situations, and fixate on your problems until you figure them out. You cannot just think that you're going to sit here and God's going to appear out of the sky and like take care of all of these problems for you. It does not work that way. You have to be able to be used as an instrument, and that God is going to, and you can be depended upon when the situation looks hopeless. Because these fights start, and very early on, these are hopeless fights. You have not a chance in hell you're thinking that you're getting through this. They have to be able to depend on you when you don't see what the solution is, while they're working their plan. And spirit has a way of making you think like they're not sure the plan's gonna work. They have a way of making you think like there's a possibility, like maybe they're losing hope or whatever. That's why it's so easy for the enemy to be so confident. In the meantime, in between time, I tell you, just never see the way that they're gonna do it. I've gotten through these things before, and I wasn't even a doer, I was a waiter back then. The way they navigate you through craziness, it's almost like they already knew the whole plan the whole time. Like they knew everything step by step the whole time through, and it was just you that they were waiting on. It was just you that they were worried on about if you could do it at the stage that you're in. They know your spirit can do it. They know you've done this before, but right now at the stage that you're in, it's still nerve-wracking. Can you push through? Can you motivate yourself? Are you going to get tired? Are you going to lose hope? I always say that spirit needs boots on the ground. It is amazing to know that in the most dismal of places, you got somebody. We have somebody over there, we have somebody over here, we have somebody over here. And these are not people we need to micromanage. These are not people we need to worry about. These are not people we're going to say, well, we're hoping, we think. We're going to be like, nah, they're going to be okay. No, they're going to come out. They're going to get through. And if they can't, they're going to call us. They're going to make sure that they get the resources that they need. They're going to let us know so that we can really focus and dig in on people that need a lot more hand holding at their face. Because I think all of us get to that point where, we get solid. No matter what you go through, you are going to rise again. Like it's a moment. It's just like a mood. It's a moment. You stick with it, you'll be fine. You're not here stuck. Like there are people here that are stuck. They're stuck with certain energies. They cannot get around it. You're not here stuck. You are here with infinite knowledge, infinite wisdom on your side. There is no way. Like spirit has the ability to grant you gifts that just because you need it right now. They have the ability to just do things, like just change things in your world. Like, what do you mean? You have the ability to ask for anything. They can make anything happen. It's you got to walk through the initiation, walk through it and learn from it. If initiation is easy, then the path ahead is not that difficult. If initiation is tough, it's because this is what you need for where you're going. We are only a fraction of our true selves. I've watched myself evolve in this situation over and over and over again. Like, I mean, multiple evolutions, to the point that I think that we are just ever evolving. And where we are in this lifetime is a much more evolved version than the previous lifetimes. And we keep building upon our old lessons. I came in this lifetime, and one of my gifts was the gift of diplomacy, the gift of being able to navigate any kind of person that I come up to. And I know that I did, and it says in my chart that I did. And so this is one of the skills that I get to use to move forward. And sometimes you have to go through one phase in order to get to the other one, because if you got the other one first, you wouldn't have the skill sets needed to get through it. There are people here who do not want to accept that they went through this and they survived it because they are needed. They still think they're on the opposite side. They don't understand yet. Listen, let me tell you something. Spirit picks people out of everywhere. Dark entities picks people out of everywhere. You think an entity is going to say, oh, this person serves God, so they're not one of us. They're an opposite of us. They're a traitor. We don't want them. What? They want those ones more. They want those ones even more. It's the same with the Holy Spirit. You think because somebody was in the dark, Spirit's going to say, oh, we don't want that one. That one's a traitor. They're on the other side. Spirit's like, no, we want that one. We want that one. We want that one. So when people thought that they were here to get you, you're here to get them. Spirit wants people. They don't care. They go somewhere, they see something, they're like, we like that. We like what we see. We want that one. Just like anybody else. There are some people here who have skills that are amazing. And it's not the skills that you think. There are people here who have survived gang stalking and are putting themselves back up on their feet. There are people here who can just endure some craziness. There are people here who can deal with turmoil. There are people here who can deal with, like, you can see their strength. They can endure every possible hardship and everything going wrong, and they keep going. What on earth makes you think that God is not going to want something like that on their army? Just because they're in the dark now, they're going to clean that off. They don't care. They're like, we'll clean it. We'll be fine. Entities see people in the light and they're like, whatever, we'll bring them in here. We'll fix that up. There's a constant fight. So if you're a strong person, they're not going to want to let you go. Where you're at, they're not going to want to relinquish you. They're going to want to keep you in place. And it makes you very attractive to everything. So everything wants to put you in a situation where you do not have a choice. Sometimes it's not really about the energy that you're carrying, because they want to get you out of that energy and bring you into what they like is the endurance. What they like is the strength. What they like is the ability to jump hurdles. They need that. They don't have a body. They're not going to feel the pain, and they understand that to get work done here. They need people that can endure the pain that it comes with getting the work. That's why they always try to motivate you. Don't worry, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. We can get it done. We can get it done. Even when it can't be done. They want everybody to outlast. That's all it comes down to. Really, at the end of the day, what it really boils down to is who you're going to work with. If you are being headhunted by spirits, because that's what's happening here, you're being headhunted. You are being headhunted. Do you know how they headhunt? Everybody does it. Companies do it. The military does it. They headhunt. Secret societies, organizations, covens even, they headhunt. Everybody wants their organization to have the best and brightest, to have gifted, talented people. If you're being headhunted, you have to ask yourself, what kind of machinery do you want to work with? Be selfish. What kind of machinery do you want to work with? You have to switch sides when it doesn't make sense. Bottom line. You don't want to be losing. Even if you have an affection or a rapport or whatever, like you're gonna go to the ground with some of these energies. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like you're gonna go out for this? You have to say to yourself, if my skills are in high demand, like this much, that they would put this much resources and energy behind this, getting this done, this much planning and effort. Now I get to sit back and say, who do I want to work with? If I'm working at a company and I produce something for this company and they just don't have the ability to nurture me and my growth to the highest potential, what am I still doing here? Why am I still here? I have to at some point say, I gotta go somewhere where they have the reach, the resources to get the best out of myself. That's really just what it boils down to. It's the long and short of it, is you have to pull yourself into a space that makes sense. That's all it boils down to. Where I'm sitting right now, does it make sense for me? Do I like my circumstances? So that is my message for tonight. And I just want to reiterate, we are literally a fraction of what we could be. I've seen myself evolve, and I never thought that I could get this far. So, you know, this is what initiation is about. This is what was on my heart, and I know it's super late, but sometimes I just got to do it when I have time. Thank you. Have a good night, and God bless.